Right, we're stowed, got a little sit mat, got a tripod, a few odds and sods. Let's get out there. Afternoon. Alright, on it again. It's been a long while. So yeah, we just haven't had the summer. It's been the wettest July on record so far apparently. So quite windy as well, as you can probably imagine from the wind noise on there. I was just thinking whether you can hear me or not. But, decided to get out for an afternoon. Two-wheeled merriment. And yeah, just stretch the legs a bit. Try and get a bit of exercise. Trouble with the wet weather, you're not really that much enthused to go out, especially if it's chucking it down outside. Yeah, going outside and getting wet just doesn't appeal, does it? But it's a fairly dry day, and thought I'd make the most of it. I was hoping to get a wild camp in this weekend, but yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Too much stuff going on at the moment. But needed to get out on the bike, clear the head a bit, get a bit of fresh air, a bit of exercise, and yeah, as you can see, that's what we're doing now. So, there we go, there you are. So yeah, I've been meaning to get out for a bit. It's one of those things I used to love doing as a kid. I used to love getting out on my bike during school holidays. I used to cycle for miles, absolutely miles and miles. I used to live in Brandon, and obviously got Thetford Forest on your doorstep. Used to explore that a lot. Great, used to build dens and things up in the woods. I used to get further afield. Used to ride out across the fens to Ely, spend an afternoon there, taking in the lovely town, the cathedral, the railway station of course. Yeah, used to get out Swaffham direction. Used to be a lovely little Iceni village over at Cockley Cly. That used to be a great little ride out. Used to spend the afternoon there. Bike over at Bury St Edmunds to see my gran and granddad. So, road clear. Yeah, so I mean I used to get out a hell of a lot. So sort of kind of reliving my youth a bit, if you like. Yeah, enjoying it. It's lovely. I mean, the bike I used to have back then was a 5-speed racer. It wasn't anything special. It was a rally arena. But it used to get me about. Countless broken chains and flat tyres and things, but it was all part of the motorcycling. But I've got onto something a bit more technologically advanced now. Although it's not high up there in the technology stakes regarding mountain bikes and whatnot. It's only a voodoo Bizango, and that's a 5-year-old bike now, this one. Bought it brand new, but I love it. It's a great thing. Also, you've probably seen the Scott I've got as well, the full suspension Scott Spark. Bloody lovely bike that is, with the 650B plus tyres on it. Great thing, goes anywhere. I've changed the gearing on it because it used to be a 2x9, I think it was. It's now a 1x11 with that great big dinner plate lower gear set, and yeah, just great for hill climbing and that sort of thing. This one I think still runs a 2x9 or 2x7. Which is great for this sort of thing, you know, country lanes, byways, bridleways, that sort of thing. And this year I've just started the bike packing malarkey, so I've got a few saddlebags and things on. Oh dear, right. Bloody maps come out the thing. I've got to sort that out in a minute. Down at the Friends estate just outside this. Lovely bit of bridleway along here, but of more interest is this. There you go. I love the columns. Obviously the concrete supporting them is not original. I would have said there were probably brick bases underneath those. Steelwork. Yeah, it's I'll never take trains again. Hard to believe it, that took them though. I think they were little 040 tank engines they used. I think they had one or two. But the railway had its own rolling stock as well. Used to collect produce and whatnot from the estate. They also used to have a brick kilns, I think, on the estate as well. They used to produce their own bricks. But it was mostly produce for the London markets, and it would be loaded onto wagons, shipped out to this railway station, and then on, obviously down to London on the Great Eastern Main Line. But yeah, fascinating little bit of local history, that. That looks like coping stones down there. They're probably original coping stones off the wing walls. There you go. Friends Church, we'll have a look at that in a minute. I timed it just right, it's just starting to spit with rain. Have a look. Oh, beautiful, I love the vaulted ceiling. It's gorgeous. Little font and a little harmonium. I think that's what they're called. I think when I did the Shimpling one, I think I called it a melodeon, didn't I? Yeah, I think I meant harmonium. But yeah, little organ. So yeah, it's lovely. Look at this. First time I've been in here actually, so you're seeing it for the first time, same as me. Love the way the walls lean as well. They lean outwards. It's like a big old, is that slate or marble or granite or something, a slab? Beautiful altar. Wow. It's not a bad age for the time, really, 54. A year younger than me. So, I'm living on borrowed time by the look of it. So that's 33. So, hard to imagine that, sort of as recent as 100 years ago, really. I say recent. 100 years ago, this would have been the hub of the community. Everybody probably in the area would have come here on a Sunday to worship and probably to catch up with all their friends and neighbours, catch up with what's going on in the area. And and today it just sits here basically as a monument, really, to a life gone by. It's beautiful, I'm glad they've kept it and have looked after it. Now, I'm not a religious person by any stretch of the imagination, but I can see the place churches had, I'm still do in some communities. I'm not going to knock people for their beliefs. It's just Christianity. It's not for me. Well, beliefs in general is really just not for me. And I'm not going to knock people for their beliefs. It keeps them going. It works for them, and good. And I just love churches just for this architectural beauty, really. They're lovely, interesting things to look at. And this one in particular, it's a cracking little one, isn't it? Nice setting. There's a memorial to the Betts family. Now, this is the family that originally owned the Skull Estate, and indeed I think it was William Betts that built the Skull Estate Railway. Obviously, when he passed, the railway was broken up and sold off, sadly. Right. So, just outside the church, there's all these farm buildings. Now, the railway line ran across the back there. It ran behind the buildings. And I believe there were sidings that came off that served the building the other side. Now let's go and have a look. Can't get in there, sadly, but you probably get a good idea of where the railway ran. Now, there you go. Sadly derelict. Obviously, danger, keep out. You really wouldn't want to go in there. But like I said, the railway line came behind where we were earlier, where the bridge is. That's over that away, and it would have gone to the end of the line further up. So it would have come down across the bridge through here. Tracks would have gone off. I believe they went into this building here. There was tracks into here for loading wagons with produce, etc., for the London markets, and they went off across the fields and joined up with the main branch of the Skull Estate Railway, which came from Dis railway station and is now where I think it's called Dis Business Centre, which is one of the original estate buildings. So that's where we're going to head to in a little while. Now, there's something else of interest along here which I'm going to show you. You'll see it in just a moment. Another piece of local history near here, which I didn't know about until a month or two back when I was researching something else. And this came up as part of it, and it was quite intriguing, actually. Now, during World War II, the Skull Estate was obviously used quite a lot by the military, and one of the uses was as a Splasher 6 radar radio site, or Splasher radar radio site. This was actually known as Splasher 6. There is one of the buildings that was associated with it. They also had apparently they had some old Eastern Counties buses that were used, or whatever they were, whatever bus company they came from, that were parked up on the site. And Splasher 6 basically was a radio site for the air crews. A lot of them obviously from Thorpe Abbots, which is the tie-in that I found. It was used when the planes were gathering up into formations, and I think there was a beacon, I think, here that was like a radio beacon that was used as a kind of reference point for the crews. I'm not sure. I don't know whether they radioed messages out to them or not, but yeah, this is it. This was basically it was it was an RAF or USAF radar site. I mean, if I'd have been prepared and actually brought my mobile phone with me, as opposed to the one that I'm actually recording this on, I could have got the things up on Google and gave you a bit more information. But yeah, this was the site of the Splasher 6, and would have helped to guide American air crews over East Anglia. I presume it acted as a beacon as well for them coming back from missions as well, so they knew where Thorpe Abbots was, and it's helped them out quite a lot. It's deteriorated quite a lot in the last couple of years. I mean, recently when last time I come past it, about a couple of years ago, still had the roof on it, or the roof trusses. But yeah, it looks like they've all gone, sadly. I've got shorts on, so I'm not going to go through those nettles. I'm sorry. Not even for a YouTube video. I'm not getting myself stung to pieces. There you go. There's another one of the Splasher 6 site buildings. Yeah, I can imagine the buses were probably in there. They were used as radio shacks or whatever. But yeah, obviously you had proper little huts there as well. All sadly gone, all part of our history. Sadly left to decay. But you can't save everything, I suppose. You can clearly see the military influence there with the concrete road there. I would definitely say that was military built. So yeah, let's continue on and find the railway. This business centre. Now the railway line would have come in where we're pointing the camera now. Would have come in across, and I mean, again, there would have been sidings into the business centre. There is rumour that that's actually used as a loco shed as well. They actually kept a little steam loco in there. Apparently there was a big water tank in the building when they were renovating it, they found. But the railway line also crossed the lane here, and you clear giveaway there. Look, the crossing keeper's cottage. So have a look at that. So, there you go, you get a clearer view. So we look over there towards this railway station there, with the granary, which is where the estate railway would have left the main line, would have come across Mission Road and Sawmills Road, would have come across the fields here, and then crossed the lane here, right where this crossing keeper's cottage is. Say the railway closed 150 years ago roughly, so there's very little evidence of it now. There's enough evidence, but yeah, the track ran behind the business centre and then headed off towards Skull, towards some more fields. There was another spur off further down that went off to fields. There was a spur that came this way, which is the one we were talking about earlier, which went down to the estate, to the farm buildings, over the little bridge over the brook, and to the field near the main line. So we'll explore a bit further that way, because the footpath bridleway actually takes you on part of the old track bed. So we're going to have a look. Right, this is where the track crossed, just here roughly, and that is part of it, I believe, here. Oh. National Grid are out maintaining the power lines. But we are now on the track bed of the old Skull Estate Railway. That. Chains grinding and rattling a little bit. But now you look at it, you can think, yeah, actually that does look like an old track bed, doesn't it? Obviously it was an agricultural light railway, so it would have been very lightly built, very minimal earthworks, and yeah, thankfully we can still use it. There you go. Now there was a spur off the branch here. It's difficult to tell from maps and looking at it now actually exactly where it was, but it's roughly here somewhere. Used to run off to the left, used to go across the fields. There used to be a big barn. I should imagine very similar to the one at the Skull, the Dis Business Centre's in. Which again, been over there somewhere, and would have been used for the storage and loading of produce into wagons again. And yeah, picked up by a little 040 tank engine, puffed along the track here, down to the station at Dis and onward. So yeah, that's our bit of the Skull Estate Railway. I'm going to follow it a bit further on. Say this footpath bridleway, it follows much of the route to as far as the Skull bypass. The track actually curved off to the right further down. I'll show you where that was, and went into just outside Skull village, roughly to the back of where the Skull Inn is, if you know Skull. And there used to be brickworks there at the back, and that used to, obviously the sidings used to serve the brickworks. To have a ride further down and enjoy the scenery. So that's our Angles Way restricted byway. That was the track bed of the old railway line, which we have now left. That's gone across the fields. That would have gone across. Trouble is the A140 cuts across there now, so much of that's been obliterated. There's very little interest. I mean, the old brickworks doesn't survive at the back of Skull, so it's not really worth going there and having a look at that. So yeah, I've just basically shown you as much of what I know survives. So yeah, that was the Scole Estate Railway. We're now going to move on, head a bit further up road and see what else there is of interest.